Hi, my name is Natalie, and today I'm here to tell you a story about the search for my identity. When people who are close or not so close to me find out that I'm adopted and that a documentary has been filmed since I actively began the search for my roots, what always follows is a series of questions. I have been answering these questions for years. Now that we finished filming the documentary, I decided to make this podcast, answering each one of them. Each episode is an answer to a question. Now, who we really are and what our true identity is a question that humans have been asking themselves since the beginning of time. And still, no one really knows what we're made of. Here, I tell you my story, for now. Now, please remember, this is not the truth. This is just my truth. If my story helps you in any way, that's great. So that's it for me, and I wish you a wonderful day. Chapter 3. Did you find something? In order to find something, you must first understand what you're looking for. And I don't think I understood what I was looking for until I actually began knocking on doors. Doors behind which might reveal my biological mother. Our identity is not something permanent. There are components of our identity that are constantly changing. There are also other components that don't change that much. Our biological identity, for example, is one of the parts that doesn't change that much. That is, unless there are significant treatments or interventions done on the body, it is most likely that we will somehow resemble our biological relatives, and that we inherit our genetics from our ancestors. If we simplify the question, did you find your biological origin? Then the answer is also simple. It's either a yes or a no. But every time I get this question, the answer is not simple at all. Because I hear a whole different question in my head. What I hear is, now that you better understand who you are and what happened the moment you were born, do you understand why you were abandoned? That is why it is difficult to find a quick answer to this question. Because both the question and the answer are really complex. Now, if I would find someone who is biologically related to me, well, that would be wonderful. Because it's something I've never had and really wish I could find. But with that said, that is a much simpler answer. As for the search for my biological identity, it was not clear to me what I was really looking for. I mean, I had a feeling, but I didn't really understand. Thanks to a conversation with a person named Mercedes Áñez, I was able to connect a little bit with what was happening inside me. Understanding the big question was the real journey. What am I looking to heal? What part of me am I missing? And why is it so important? If we assume that my search began the day I suspected that I was the daughter of the disappeared during the dictatorship, then I can say that what I was looking for all along was to accept what happened and how it happened. It's hard to reconstruct the truth when you don't have it. The expectations, the dreams and fantasies that this emptiness feeds from are very powerful. As if my feet can never touch the ground because there's a bit of truth that I don't understand. It wasn't so much figuring out who I am, because at my age, I already am who I am. Instead, it was about figuring out why I am. So knocking at the doors of women, where one of them could actually be my biological mother, gave a face to fantasy. Although none of them turned out to be my biological mother, they were all my mothers, in a way. And in their stories, I could see and understand something that without their bravery, I would have never understood or found. Context. These mothers had never forgotten their daughters. Whatever the reason for the pregnancy, the girl that was born was not just a mistake that had to be corrected by handing it over to other people. That girl always remained in the memory of these mothers. It never left them. The answer I was looking for was largely answered. How could you let me go? How could you hand me over to strangers who God knows what they would do to me? Was I worth so little? Was it all worth so little to you? But it wasn't like that at all. She didn't just let me go. There were no other options. The family that adopted me was not chosen. They were just there, at the right place and the right time. Nothing more. It wasn't personal. I didn't cause it, nor controlled it. Everything just happened that way. Life is a lottery, and you get what you get. It's not fair. There are no rules. Or if they are very difficult to understand, and it is beyond me to do so. So my answer is yes. I found a lot. And I understood, at least through my journey and experience, that mothers do not forget their children. Never, ever. And none of this was personal. It has nothing to do with me. But yes, it did happen to me. Hi, if you want to support Nothing Personal podcast, you can do it through patreon.com/nada.personal podcast, or also by subscribing to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. On Facebook, you'll find it as nada.personal podcast, and on Instagram, nada.personal_podcast. Or you can find it directly on its website, nada.personalpodcast.com. This podcast and the theme song were produced by me at Solila Luna Music, Stockholm, Sweden. The translation to English is by Jeremy Halpin. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.